Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel is Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis updated commodities, work our way through the dollar, yields, precious metals, and commodities and ETFs that this guy follows. I'm going to interject my financial opinions across the board. And again, if you guys need any help, check out finding-value.com. We've got a discount going. Discount is the coupon code for the first month, 50% off on the monthly membership, and a larger discount on the yearly membership. So let's dive in. Let's take a look and see what the markets are doing today. Looking at the DXY, this is really cool looking chart here. So we squeezed up, squeezing on up, squeezing on up. We pulled on down, but it really didn't have any sort of oomph to it. Quickly, and I don't know if there's people behind the scenes or whatever, but quickly they threw in a bullish engulfing, came back down, throwing in another bullish candlestick today, which is kind of weird because generally speaking, if you get a large, kind of a longer term movement, we'll back up. This is where we're at. We're at this big channel that's going up. We've been trading back and forth in this big channel. I think we were going to come back down to the bottom of this channel at some point, but it looks like that's not the case. We've got a strong movement today, and a lot of the times it comes back to the bottom of this green candlestick. So it pops up, slowly comes back down to the bottom, and then we pop again. So DXY is going all over the place. Still looks good, like this wants to go higher. Now, looking at yields, yields are kind of split here. We've got the 2-year up about 1%. That's been going up in this channel that we've been bouncing back and forth in. You zoom out, obviously we've had some massive move in the 2-year, just ripping it. We had basically a consolidation little area. Here, I could probably draw that better, but it's a consolidation area here. We've punched out on top of it, and it's still just riding a little bit higher. Now, there's some people that think that this is going to come and pull on back down here. Could be the case. What does that mean? That would mean that there's a slowdown in the market. But we haven't had that slowdown yet, and we continue to move on higher. The 10-year is flat. The 10-year threw a bullish or a bearish engulfing yesterday. That generally wants to go lower. In the short term, not long term, just short term, a little bit of downside pressure there. And then the 30-year's got the same thing, a little bit of downside pressure. So the short end of the curve, the 2-year, remains high. And the long end, it's easing back a little bit. But I'm not saying that that's going to be permanent. I'm just saying if you zoom out on the big picture view, is it possible to turn back like this and then go back up? It very much is. So short term, we could get a little bit of a pullback, and we'll see what that looks like. And we'll report on it daily. TYX, TNX ratio down a little bit, which means the curve inverted. It means the 30-year fell a little bit more than the 10-year. When this thing inverts, gold doesn't like it as much. But when it uninverts and comes back up, gold loves it. It just rips. So we don't have the right market conditions this second, but I think this is going to go sideways or slightly higher over time. TLT, which is a bond price, it does look like we are coming off that bottom. This is a bullish engulfing. We are getting a bounce, and we could come up. A lot of the times during the past 40 years or so, gold and bonds moved together. Is it going to occur this time? Well, we didn't get that yield curve to uninvert, but we could be throwing in a bottom here in bonds, maybe for the short period. Remember, yields going down, bonds going up, bond prices. And I think gold's going to go up here too. That's my guess. So we go to gold, the price of gold, it looks pretty well poised for a move higher. Why do I say that? Big picture view, we are sitting on top of all this resistance, or I should say support, sorry. We're sitting on above resistance or above support, however you want to call it. And we've got a nice big bullish engulfing that we've got on the monthly. That hasn't closed yet this month, but it could close pretty bullish. We zoom in on the time frame. We've got big green candlesticks, small selling pressure candlesticks as we go up. Not much selling pressure here over the past 2 days. I think that this is very ripe for the launch higher. This is the exact type of trading that I see uh, during an up leg or up phase or up move, however you want to say it. So I think it looks fantastic. I think we are ready to rip at any second. Could we come down to this little support level there before heading higher? It's possible. We can throw a wick at the bottom too, like a little hammer candlestick. Obviously, it's all possible, but I think it's going to move on up. It looks really good. Silver's also kind of just hanging out there. If you're going to see a big downward move at a resistance level, what you generally see are big bearish candlesticks, the big red guys that look like that. We're not kind of seeing that. I mean, we've got a little one here, and today, not much selling pressure. So what this is doing, if I were to break this up, we're pounding on this resistance line. We're just hitting it. I'm punching my fist there. We're hitting it, hitting it, hitting it, hitting it. We're hitting it, come back, hitting it, come back, hitting it, come back. And we're breaking down the resistance that's there. So we just need a little bit of time, bust on through this. If gold, remember, gold's sitting on top of all that support and resistance. I think silver is going to break through shortly thereafter, which could be at any time. Platinum down a little bit, but it's still squeezing in its pattern, still looks very good. And then palladium down a little bit, but again, palladium doesn't look that bad. Would I be in the palladium trade? Uh, yes, I mean, you could. Palladium is a war metal. It does real well under war, but I do think there could be a little bit more downside out of this. But either way, if we break to the upside, that's your buy signal anyway. XAU to gold ratio up a teeny bit today, ever so slightly, but it is a bullish engulfing where maybe we can gain some traction in the gold and silver mining companies. We are still underneath and below the big long-term trend line that for this ratio that we need to break for me to be the ultra bull of a lifetime. That would be me when we break that downtrend line. The CRB index down a little bit. We had crude down a teeny bit, but we're back at support. Everything's a-okay. CRB to S&P down a little bit. Remember, weaker yields. S&P kind of likes that a little bit. But oil was down today as well, and oil is highly linked to yields. There's a strong correlation there. So we're going to have to look at crude oil and see what crude oil is doing. But the ratio looks fine. I still think we're going to go higher over a long period of time. GDX flat, right on resistance support. That blue line goes across this major kind of support resistance area. But it does look really good on the monthly for a potential move. It's called a bullish piercing, where the opening price is before the closing price of the one before, and it closes above the 50th percentile. So that's usually a good move to head higher. So you get a move on up, you get a flag pattern, and then we break out of it. So that's kind of what I'm seeing here. GDXJ, these are all going to be roughly similar. And SILJ, it's going to be the same thing. We just got to, these are just lagged behind it, SILJ is, and same with GDXJ. Crude oil, down 2.2%. Oh my God, crude oil. Kind of as expected. You've got this pull here. We squeezed up a little bit, and then we pumped back out. This could be the bottom. Maybe we've got a little bit more. Maybe we tap 82. Okay, fine. Not a big deal. It's $1.50 away. Not going to lose my lunch over that. So I do think this is going to base out, and then we are going to move higher. I think yields and crude oil are going to mirror each other. So when yields go up, crude oil is going to go up. So we could have a little bit of a pullback. We could have a little bit of a pullback, go sideways move here for crude oil as the markets kind of, I don't know, digest some of this bond stuff going on. But again, I'm not projecting that this is going to stay down here. This could rip at any second. So I'm staying long. I'm watching my companies. We're getting a good pullback in some of these energy service companies and some of these oil and gas exploration plays. Might be a good time to start looking at those companies and seeing which ones you guys like. Create a list. Put a list on the side. Watch those things, and when you start to see them bottom and start to come up with crude oil and interest rates, might be a good time to fire away. TTF nat gas still looking good. We are above support. We're just moving sideways. Now I can redraw this. I can open this thing up a little bit. Maybe we're creating a little bit larger pattern of the consolidation. That's how you draw it as we go. So that's looking good for TTF nat gas. Now nat gas and the Henry Hub, we're back at support, and support is holding. We're up 2%. We're right at that resistance support level. What is resistance support? It's just a bunch of people who purchased shares before. What they do is it comes up and then it comes back down. They say, "Oh, it came back to where I bought it. I'm going to buy some more." That's the psychology behind it. It's that simple. So that is what's going on. People are buying a little bit more. XOP, yeah, you know me, down a little bit today, but again, lower yields, lower oil price. And we're right on the neckline. We're right at resistance. We're knocking on heaven's door, baby. Bam, bam, bam. And we're going to probably break at some point here, and we go to the promised land. So patient here, guys. It's coming. Give it some time. OIH down 1.27%. Those energy service companies down a little bit. They're pulling back towards support levels for a lot of different companies. There are positive signals in energy service companies, and some of them, they're putting in bullish engulfings and whatnot, because I watch this. So OIH, it's down today, but be patient here, guys. We might get a little bit more downside if crude gets a little bit more funky with it, and then I think we'll turn on up. But again, I'm not telling or saying that this is necessarily going to go down. I said it could go down. That's why I don't sell out. I only accumulate. So yes, we accumulated here. We came on up. We're finding companies that we like. If this comes and we bounce, maybe we can, fire some off whenever we get a reversal signal. The Sprott Physical Uranium Trust, it is still grinding higher. Remember this pattern I talked about. I said, hey, we got a bullish engulfing right there. That was your move to look, purchase for the move higher. That, if you're a trader at least, that is what you look for. You have a bullish engulfing here, signaling, hey, we could break out. You've got the lead-in pattern that I look for, which is larger green candlesticks and then the sideways dead period move. That's what I look for. Now, URA, looking good. We've got another bullish piercing pattern here at the tip. We have another bullish engulfing here. So what does that mean? They add up. We look for these things. Here's another bullish engulfing, signaling we could go higher. What do? We went higher. This is a bearish engulfing here. We're going to go lower. So we're transitioning from moving on up, bearish engulfing, get ready for a potential turn. Get ready for a potential turn. We turn back. Now we're getting bullish, getting more bullish. Buy, 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 buy. Boom. That's how you play it. So that's what we got for URA, and it looks good to continue higher. I like the green army showing up. URNM, looking gorgeous. Look at the closing here. Very strong candlestick. Your turning point, bullish engulfing here and a bullish piercing here at the bottom of support. Look for a potential move higher. That's what I use to do this. And we have a squeezing of the pattern, which means the pullback, the buyers and sellers are starting to equal each other, and then we threw bullish candlesticks. That's how I knew, or why I thought, that the probability was to go higher. URNJ also ripping to the upside. Looks fantastic here. Really looks good. TAN up 1.33%. But again, who likes solar? I think we're going to find support here. So just be patient here. COPX up 1%. We're right at that bottom of support level. We'll see if we can hold. If not, we're going to come back to the $30 level. if it gets to the $30 level, that is a freaking steal. 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 Steal, steal, steal. Steal shares down here, guys. If it goes back there, steal shares. Why do I say that? This is a big bottoming pattern. Big bottom. We're just been moving sideways. Now, we'll look at copper. Copper doesn't look too bad, and we'll see what copper does. Lithium up 2.58%. It still needs some room to get back within the pattern there, but it does look like it's trying to turn and work its way back up. It's trying. REMX doing the same thing. It's trying, and we have to see what happens. Again, this is by no means a reversal down here. It's not what I'm saying. It's just trying to move up. We'll see what it looks like, but downside is still possible. S&P 500 up 0.73%. Lots of selling pressure here. See that? The three big candlesticks. Boom, boom, boom. This bounce could easily roll over. So those yields coming off, we could see S&P bounce a little bit, which we're seeing. But I wouldn't say that this is a bottom. So I would be very careful. Look to see if this thing rolls over. Look for a bearish candlestick, a wick at the top. Look for something like that coming up where we could potentially head lower with further downside. NASDAQ, same thing. Yeah, we're coming up to a support level. We bounced. Not a strong bounce. Not a convincing bounce to me, at least. So let's continue to monitor it. KRE, we are real low in this, and this is very interesting. It looks like an accumulation cylinder slanted upward, just like all the Livermore stuff. Are we going to somehow move up? I don't know how, but it's something to watch. Maybe yield curve control, QE. I don't know. I don't know what's the deal with this pattern, but it's there and it exists. Emerging markets up 1.28%, a little bit of weaker yields. We did have a stronger dollar, and emerging markets outperformed just in spite of that. We're in a pretty good location down here to be looking at emerging markets. XHB is the home builders. We are down a teeny bit. It still looks kind of weak. I probably wouldn't jump in front of that. Let it go. Let it go. Moo's still looking weak. Let it go. Let it go down. I don't see, this is a reversal candlestick here, but it failed and it came down. So it was kind of just consolidation that we broke, but there's no real support yet. So I wouldn't jump in front of it, not even with your money. Look for support down at like 69 bucks, 68, 69 bucks. Copper. Now copper's looking better. Nice movement today. We've got a lot of wicks on the bottom here. There's good support. We'll see if we can get some momentum to the upside. I'd like to see it break $3.88, somewhere up there. That's what I'd really like to see. But we're a ways from that. Iron ore looking good. It looks like we are putting in maybe a pattern here. So maybe we've got a little bit more consolidating to do, but we're on top of this big pattern. I am inclined to think that we are going to go higher and that we're just consolidating here. Nickel, yeah, don't like it. Just let it go down. We got to see basing, more positive development there. Aluminum, 1.35%. We're at support. I kind of like it down here. I do. Let's see if we can get a little bit of action to the upside. Baltic Dry Index down 1.42%. But I think we're going higher. Iron ore goes higher. Baltic Dry Index goes higher. That's my guess. Newcastle coal down 3.7%. Oh no. Is it going to crash? Why is it down 3.7? We're going to move around here, guys. It's going to base out. It's going to trampoline jump off that base. It's going to take some time. Patient. But I do think coal's going to look really good here. Why? Go look over at natural gas. It's breaking its base. Coal's just lagged behind it. Give it some time. Find your companies that you like. Hopefully some fat dividend paying ones. Then you can sit in it and get paid dividends while this thing bases out. Good strategy, I think. Bitcoin looking very strong today. Up 2.5%. Yeah, we got a little bit of a wick at the top. I get it. Probably going to do a return move back to this support level. But I do think that this could go higher and it could be dramatically higher. This fractal is very much like this fractal. Do you want to see how much it's like it? Okay, I'll show you. So this is the fractal is this pattern down here in the basing pattern, that guy here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to overlay it okay, see how this guy here is that. Then you have the big sell-off move. It comes on up, and that's your fractal. It's very, very similar. That's your fractal. So this guy is there, that guy is there, and that guy is there. And then that was right before the big move up. Could we have a large move in Bitcoin? Yes. Now here's something, well, let's go to Ethereum here too. Ethereum also is showing strength, and we like to see strength across the board, not just in one thing, but that also looks very good, and the fractal doesn't look too bad. So it does look like people are accumulating. Now let's add this up, all right? Let's add this up. This is what I do. I add things up. All right, we just looked at a bunch of charts. All right, so let's go over it real quick. What looks good? Okay, Bitcoin looks good, right? Break to the upside. Gold. Wait, gold also broke to the upside. Okay, that's weird. We've got two things that are a measurement of liquidity breaking to the upside. Okay. We've got oil consolidating on top of its pattern. Looks good. Uranium's taken off. Baltic Dry Index looks good. Iron ore is not a recessionary metal, guys. That's not screaming recession. That broke to the upside, ready to move on higher. Well, what about copper? What about Dr. Copper? Dr. Copper is up today. If that starts breaking to the upside, I mean, I don't know if the recession guys will be right if that, all these things start to break, or maybe there's something liquidity-wise coming. Maybe it's from the war. Maybe it's whatever the heck it is. You can create whatever news and whatever reason why, because it doesn't matter why, someone is accumulating these things, thinking that maybe there's liquidity coming in the system. The news will come later. And we'll see if that news comes. We'll see if it comes. We'll see what it says. And then everyone else will be happy because they know the why behind it. Even though the why could be completely made up, and even though the why may have nothing to do with the actual reason of why it went up. Most of these moves, you don't know the why. They just make it up. The news makes up the why. Just so that everyone has something to read about and everyone feels good about the why. Now, some of the reasons are legit, but I would say the day-to-day movements, they have no idea. They're just making stuff up. But that's my guess. Again, if you guys need any help with anything, check out finding-value.com. There are some really good buys out there right now, and obviously I'm sharing whatever I know about that. I know some people sign up. They ask me specifically about certain sectors. I am going to tell you exactly what I'm doing in the sectors that I like and what I'm accumulating for those sectors. Ask me questions directly about the companies that you are specifically interested in, and I will give you my opinion on it. I'm going to be completely factual and truthful. There's going to be no, feeding anything up the yin yang there. If I don't know about a company, I will tell you I don't know about the company, and that it requires further investigation about the fundamentals. It doesn't mean that I'm going to go investigate every company that people bring to the table, but I do investigate what I think are the best risk-reward companies in the universe that are available to be purchased in a lot of my accounts. So I do look at those. But, everything looks pretty good here. It looks pretty good. So hopefully we get some follow through with copper. And I think if we get follow through with copper, I think gold could head higher. Liquidity could be coming. I don't know. I don't have the answer yet. I don't know the why. And we'll find out what it looks like over the next few weeks. All right, guys. We'll catch you guys later. This is Finding Value.